Somebody put in my comments, stop talking about Bitcoin? Too bad, too bad. That's part of my message, man. Get off a damn channel if you don't like it. My message is, find your side hustle, whatever it is, right? Make money, take that money, put it into appreciating assets. My favorite asset is cryptocurrencies. I buy Bitcoin and Ethereum every week. Every week I buy it. So if you don't like that message, then get off my channel. I mean, but appreciating assets, that could be anything. It could be precious artwork. It could be real estate. It can be baseball cards, basketball cards. I don't care what it is, but you don't want to leave your money in cash and savings. Not with all the inflation that's going on, all the money printing that's going on. You have to be in appreciating assets. That's my message. That's the core root of my channel. So, you know, if you don't like it, you're gonna have to, I don't want you to go somewhere else, but go somewhere else. Find their message. I've been saying that all along. I don't understand why. You know, we say it almost every video. Not almost every. I'm thinking about buying a house on the water. I'm a little confused about what's going on right now in real estate and. You know, that's the problem when you search for information on stuff. You hear both sides of it and you don't know what the truth is. Some people are saying the housing market's gonna crash pretty soon because nobody was allowed to foreclose during Corona. And so once those foreclosures start, the housing market's gonna crash. Right now, the supply is very low. Once the supply gets back to normal, you know, that'll make demand go down and therefore prices will go down. But then other people are saying, no, because of the money printing and inflation, housing prices will just always keep going up. That if you want to buy it, you better buy it now. And because interest rates are so low, interest rates are like, I think I qualified at like 1.88% or something like that, you know, then I might as well buy something. Who cares when I buy it? Because as long as I'm going to hold it for the long term, eventually I'll have more equity in it. Because of, even if there is a dip, I'll go through the dip, and when I come out the other side, I'll be in a good position. You know, so I do already have a house in Tampa, but thinking about buying one on the water where I can maybe Airbnb it, and hopefully there's enough demand for Airbnb that can pay the mortgage there, and then I'd have another appreciating asset that over the years would become something that I can monetize and sell in the future. Plus, who doesn't want to have a house on the water? If I can afford it and do it right now, then I might as well do it. But you got to buy these appreciating assets. 10 years ago I bought my restaurant, my first restaurant. And now we're selling it, and we're making a substantial amount of money on it. And really, it's cost. I mean, there's good years and bad years in the restaurant business, but ultimately, it's putting me in a really good position right now to make these kind of purchases, like a house on the water. So, if you can, there's like if you watch. Is it Meet Kevin? But his name's Kevin. He's one of the most famous YouTubers out in LA. I think it's Meet Kevin. He buys real estate, and he's like, go get the 3% down payment loans. Just get them and buy some real estate. Just get in there, because eventually everything in the market right now is just going up, 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 up. And since 2008, everything's just heading this way. And the prediction is it'll never go down, because the government's addicted to printing money. Therefore, they'll just keep printing money until, to keep us out of any sort of negative situation. Now, and the US government, if you listen at a high level to people who are talking about the economy, the US government will get away with it until the rest of the world says, hey, you can't do that anymore. And that's because we're the world reserve currency. If they ever decide to take us off that standard, then we're in for a whole world of hurting here. So, and if we're in for a whole world of hurting, you need to own something other than cash, and that's goes right back to my premise. Buy appreciating assets. So maybe we'll do a video on the house on the water that we're looking at, and see if we can buy it. step right on there. Oh, I almost dropped you. Hang on, let me get out in the clearing. That was easy, wasn't it?
You nearly jumped right in that box.
I should have.
I'd just be like, hey, Tom, keep it or send it. What would you say?
Make sure it goes out on dollar day.
Right. So when I was a kid, and I grew up in a military family, so we were stationed in Ulm, Germany, New Ulm, Germany, and what they would have is kind of like some neighborhoods do in the United States is the neighborhood would have a trash day, right? So that was the only day that you can like put whatever you want out on the street corner, and then they would come pick up all the stuff. But you got to understand that over in Europe has a history that dates back thousands of years, right? The United States has a American history that only dates back a couple hundred years. So to Europeans, you know, something that's an antique is 1,000 years old, right? So what my mom would do is my mom would gather up us kids. We had we probably had a station wagon back in the time. And we'd go to these neighborhoods that are having, we call it junkin'. And so we'd go through their trash, everything they're throwing out, and we'd pull stuff out. You know, anything that was worth something, we'd pull out and throw into our station wagon. We had the whole back would be filled up with stuff that we found in the garbage. You know, my mom didn't care. I didn't care. I was a little kid. I'm like, oh, look at this, right? But she would look for the antiques, things that Americans thought were antiques, but the Europeans, you know, they just didn't care about. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, but you know, I get it, the difference in the time frame, and so that means perspective, right? So they have thousands of years of perspective, where we only have a few hundred years of perspective.
Move those boxes to that pallet.
What are we working on, Ian? Are you going out there to sell me some stuff?
My partner left me.
What?
My partner left me.
That's why Tom's here.
My partner left me. He's house shopping.
No, I didn't meet any Nazis. Not that I know of. I mean, I had some German friends, but you know, I mean, when you're in a military family, you live on a military. I mean, there was the military base and the military housing, which was off the base in the German neighborhood, but everybody was American on the military base. So, you know, but you did venture outside the military housing into the public. There was a big park in Ulm, Germany, New Ulm, Germany, and actually I remember they had this statue of this guy who invented some wings, and he tried to fly over the Donau River, or the Danube. I think in American it's Danube. In German they call it Donau. And he got 3/4 of the way over, and then went right into the river and died. So he was trying to be the first man in flight. You know, that was kind of neat. I don't know. I liked living there. I think it brings me value. It brings me perspective. I think it brings me. You know, when you grow up in a military family, you move every 2 or 3 years. So what'd you have to do every 2 or 3 years? You'd have to meet new people, right? So maybe it attributed to my personality, to my ability to talk to people. Okay, so you know. It was great being in a military family because I was born in Georgia. Then we moved to Italy for 3 years. Then we moved to New York City. Then we moved to Germany. Then we moved to Fort Meade, Maryland, Washington, D.C. Then we moved back to Germany. And then when my dad was retiring, we moved back to New York. So, you know, I've been all over the world. I traveled all over the world. I actually spoke fluent Italian when I lived in Italy, but I forgot all of it. I never spoke German when I lived in Germany, but when I came home, I took German classes in school. So now I can speak a little bit of German, but you know, you just get different perspectives seeing everything else in life. And it was kind of neat seeing, you know, when I met Germans, they'd be critical of the United States, and you know, so you could hear this different perspective that I like to hear different perspectives and not think that we're always in our own echo chamber and hearing, you know, I mean, with all due respect, this channel's not about politics, but people that listen to one station, let's say Fox News only, like my father, you know, or people that listen to the left side, which is CNN, NBC, MSNBC, you know, you're in your own echo chamber and you're just hearing the things that you want to hear, and you don't have perspective. You only have your opinions. You don't see the perspective, and you really need to break out of those molds, I think, in order to persevere more as a person and not just a hedge for either the right or the left. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
That's good.
Thanks, Paul.
That's one of the biggest attributes I love about you. Have $1 million in the bank, but still get your hands dirty and humble.
Cameron. Yeah, Paul was trying hard for a raise right there, wasn't he?